Hey, everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here by super fans Heath Goldman, Riley Goldman, and Devin Circus, and this is the Jungle Talk NFL schedule show. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
um, we had the schedule released early this week, so we'll go through it. Biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, things we liked. Let's just catch up before I say anything. This is a show by fans for fans. All we ask is that you support the channel. So please subscribe. Please give us the thumbs up. Hit the bell so you know when we get our updates. We do previews, recaps throughout the season. So, like I said, show by fans for fans. We just support the channel. And Riley, tell them where they could find your stuff on the app formerly known as Twitter.
I refuse to call it X. So on Twitter, at sportsball with three L's. Hopefully, once I get used to working and writing so much, I'll start posting on there. But also writing for fanfunded.io. It's a sport picking site. So the blog page should be going up in a couple days where you can see my stuff.
Excellent. So I'll have it pinned on my Twitter account, and you can follow also Devin. Heath, I don't know that you even are active on Twitter, so
He's way too old to use Twitter.
yeah, it's not yeah. So stick with Facebook. So let's go. Just some brief news. Last thing I heard,
You mean in all his Peloton rides?
yeah, in between all those, when he got hacked, I thought that was funny when you said you knew all those Peloton rides were bullshit. When his Facebook got hacked, I thought that was funny.
Dude, my Facebook didn't get hacked. Those were all rides that I do every day.
Okay.
And by the way, I will say my favorite part of Heath's Facebook Peloton posts, his mother, God love her, who's one of the sweetest women on the planet,
Right.
gives him a thumbs up and a kudos. She comments every single time.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
I just look and I say, oh, Heath rode the Peloton this morning again. Big shock. So, but well,
Mark, what the shock is that you don't have some exercise going at the same time that I've got my exercise going here.
no, I have a cross trainer, so it's earbuds on, and I just check out and do the cross trainer. So
I'm gonna let that one go, right, Dev?
yeah. So let's.
There's lots of cross things Mark does. Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah. We'll leave that out of the show. So
This is a
this is
Bengals show.
clean
Is
show.
that what we're talking about?
So, last thing I heard, we had half our draft class signed. I don't know if that's changed or not, but that was the last I heard. We're gonna get them in. So,
I think it's more.
is it?
I know All and somebody else signed the other day. Burton signed. Mims is signed. I thought I saw McLaughlin signed early.
All right, we're moving along. These guys are all gonna.
Class.
Yeah, but that's one of those things you don't worry about. In the NFL, it's not like baseball or even basketball. It's automatic. You don't worry about stuff like that.
No, not at all. So, and then obviously we're waiting for the Chase contract. So,
Yep.
and Teal eventually signed his franchise tender. Apparently, we didn't get the trade offer we wanted. We'll keep him on the 1-year rental.
Yeah.
Last thing is, Trey appears to be backing down from his trade thing because they asked him about a week ago, and he said, "Oh no, I fully intend to play this year. There's not going to be any problems." So he's kind of toned down his temperament.
It was really interesting, and I think it was in a 24, maybe even 48-hour period this past week. Out of nowhere, there's Trey's quote saying, "I want to finish my career here. I couldn't imagine playing anywhere else." And then either it was a statement or maybe just a video package that he released on Twitter or Instagram. So they're all in. I mean, there was a little concern. I think I honestly think the only concern that we had with T and Trey is just the historical significance of being a Bengals fan saying, what next? But when push comes to shove, neither of them had any leverage. T can't hold out and get what he wants because he plays 12 games a year. And Trey couldn't even get a extension if he wanted. Now he can in July or August.
He just got one. That's the thing.
But he legally can't sign anything until August because of that. And he's not 25 years old. He's not on a bad deal. Neither one of them were going anywhere. The only real fear was, oh shit, it's a Bengal. What's going to happen now?
Right.
Jefferson was at the grocery store in Cincinnati this weekend, I heard.
The guy's allowed to shop, isn't he?
See, Heath, if you were on Twitter more, you know that the joke is spotted at the Cincinnati airport
Yeah,
or the mall. What's the one which started with Lale Collins? So was at the mall, one of the
I
Cincinnati
remember that
malls?
one. Yeah.
yeah. So, but all right, and then obviously, T's going to play out this year. We all know that that's how that's going to go down. This is his final year, but neither one of them. I heard Adam Schefter talking about how, oh well, is T Higgins going to give 100% if his hammy's a little tweak late in the season? And I was like, no, look, Jesse Bates helped us get all the way to an AFC championship, and he was on his franchise, and he got his payday. I don't see these guys, they're on a team that has a chance to get to a Super Bowl. So I don't see any, like I said, I see them all in. So all this stuff, it just shows
Comes
you what
to
we have to
shove,
reach for in the
yeah,
offseason.
yeah. When push comes to shove, T wants to get paid like a number one. He's never been asked to be a number one. He hasn't needed to be a number one. So if you want to get paid like a number one, you better be a monster number two. And look, he's great when he plays, but
Right.
some of the geek numbers, snap percentage, and all that, and he's not up there. And the Jalen Waddles, and I mean Jordan Addison's only a rookie, rookie year last year. There's a couple guys I'm blanking off the top of my head that are better number twos. And if he wants to get paid like a number one or a top number two, he's got to have a big year if he wants 25 to 30 million a year.
Right. And you know what? And he's going to play this year because it's still over $20 million. He's not going to walk from that. Yeah, he doesn't have a long-term deal, but that's not
Right.
chump change. I mean, come
Right.
on.
He's making more this year than what the AAV on what he should get in a new contract. So
Right.
he's fine financially. Granted, it's 1 year versus 6, and you want that security, but finish out your contract and then go get paid. Go have fun being a Carolina Panther next year.
I'll tell you the surprising contract. I know that we're starting to talk about the schedule, but that contract in Detroit really threw us for a loop in terms of what we're going to have to even offer him if they decide to even come close to offering him again after.
You're talking about Amon or Goff? You're not talking about Goff, are you?
No,
Wow.
we already. No, I'm on.
Yeah, Amon. But look, Amon is wide receiver 4 in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's the 4th best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. So, well, and T was never going to get that kind of money from us because we have to pay Chase. He knew he's never been the number one for us. He already knew Chase was here. So,
Right. And his
With all
agent's a
of that-
scumbag, and his agent is worse than Scott Boras, and he thinks that's what he's going to get.
And with all
No.
that being said, it'll be very interesting to see if that rookie we just picked up from Alabama can fill that number 2 slot well enough because T's history of playing full seasons is not great.
Yeah. You know where he went to high school, right, Heath?
No, I don't.
Calabasas.
I'm not sure I even knew that when you said it.
Him and Johnny Wilson were teammates at Calabasas.
I'm not sure I knew that at all.
Wow. Okay. So, and I need to
One
bet.
more.
I was harsh on him on our draft recap show, saying we drafted him too early. But a lot of the stuff I've read have said we were right in line. I mean, he could really develop into something special. So,
all accounts post draft said that if it wasn't for the attitude stuff, he was a 1st round pick.
okay.
I mean, his own coaches talked about his limitations and issues and concerns.
Right.
So we'll see.
He's been working with TJ. That I think that bodes well because TJ definitely had his, some of his mental issues early in his career too. It really cleaned it up and ended up being real good.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the day 1 recap I was on, I think. What I loved most about that, not only that he was working with TJ and TJ's great, but that because he was working with TJ, the Bengals called TJ and said, hey, what do we got here? So that conversation took place.
Right. Okay. Well, then the last thing I'm going to throw out there is we've all seen, Burrow's back out throwing.
Yeah.
He's put on weight. So let's, see, it looks good. We're hoping for our very first normal offseason. We still have yet to have one, a training camp and all that stuff for Joe. So I think that's led to the slow start. So let's hope that the extra weight and everything.
And will we see Joe take snaps in an August game this year or for the first time in his career?
And you've got solar eclipse on the right and left side. You may never see Joe again this season. I mean, it's 6'8", 360 pounds on the right side and the
Yeah.
left.
Oh yeah. No.
You may never see. You won't even see a guard between those two monsters.
The best thing I saw, and I think I sent it to you guys, to this group, is Mims is what, 6'6", 340, something like that.
Right.
He's our third biggest offensive lineman.
Yeah. No, the Brown boys are big. We got a lot of beef on the line. So
And and what they said also, and then we'll get into schedule, obviously. What they said about the post draft on Mims, if he had been healthier, a little healthier in college, he could have gone higher than where we got him. So
he could have been the top lineman in the draft.
We may have had 2 steals.
So
he had a chance. He had a chance if he went back to Georgia to be a top 3 pick next year.
Right. So, well, I'm glad we got him. So, but that's it. Anybody got anything else? Any other tidbits? I got to say, it's nice. This is the time of year where we don't want to read a lot about our players.
Right.
Okay. I mean, just look around the league, with Rice and what's going, you just don't want to be in the news. Last year it was Ruggs. You just don't want to be. This is the season to not read about your players.
And that used to be
absolutely. I'll add one minor thing. Little tip of the cap to number 83, Tyler Boyd. Good luck in Tennessee. True Bengal by all accounts, despite
100%.
the fact that he almost cost us Joe Burrow in Miami a couple of years ago.
It's
a good fit for him, and hope he does well and gets one more contract out of it and finishes out strong. And I don't know if we ever talked about it. Fun fact: do you know how many career receptions Tyler Boyd finished with in Cincinnati?
No.
513. The Cincinnati area code.
There you go. Well, that's kind of a symmetry to it. I like that. And it makes sense for him at Tennessee because he can help Callahan with the new offense in the locker room. So it was the right fit. And I'm glad I didn't really want to see him. I know he played his college ball at Pitt and he started third. I still did not want to see him, go to the dark side. So
and one more fun fact, Mark.
Yeah.
Our 3 top receivers, Jamar Chase is number 1, T. Higgins is number 5. Burton's wearing number 3. We thought we were going to get 5-1-3 with receivers last year. There was talk Boyd was going to switch.
Right.
Our top 3 receivers wear 5-1-3 this year.
There you go. I like that. So, all right. Well, let's jump into the schedule. And,
let's talk about, before you get there, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay. I'm going to bring it up already.
What's the elephant?
Game of the schedule is just bullshit again in Arrowhead.
What?
Huh?
It's what?
Arrowhead, the Chiefs again? You don't,
dude. It's a script. That's a format. It's not. The NFL didn't decide to put us in KC. It's a format.
Right.
All right.
Remember, we play.
You could go online right now and see who all of our opponents are next year.
Yeah.
And the year after.
Right.
And the year you could go. We played in Arizona last year. I could go online and figure out how many more years before we're back in Arizona.
Yeah.
When we back in Vegas. That was a hell of a game.
I'd have to look, but I could tell you that answer.
All right, text me later.
So, but
you can't complain. You can't complain about who your opponents are or where you play them. Like the whole schedule release, as soon as the season's over, as soon as week 18's over, who all 8. How many games you play? 17 of your opponents are the next year.
I knew the opponents. I didn't know location was set too.
Location's the same. You know where and who.
What determines location?
And you don't know 17.
It just flips.
Flips.
This year, Heath, we were at, I think we play that whole division. We played that whole division.
Yes.
So this year we are at KC and at the Chargers. So we're home Denver and home Raiders.
Right.
In 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, we'll have KC at home, Chargers at home, at Raiders, at Denver. It just flips every 2 or 3 years, whatever the math is.
And we don't have 17 games, we know, but we do know that we play our division rivals, so that's 6 games, right, on the road and at home. And we know we play another division and and an interconference. This year we're playing the NFC East and we're playing the AFC West. So
you've never been to Cincinnati, have you?
What's that?
You haven't been to a game in
No, I haven't. Well, I have to change that. I could never pull that off with my wife. Now that I'm a happily divorced person, that changes.
Lawrence wants to do it in early November. We might be okay. weather-wise, wants to do the Raiders in Cincy.
We could maybe pull that off. It's 2 weeks before, and then we'll see the game here with the Chargers 2 weeks later.
All right, so
Now, we may be able to pull that off. Yes.
all the fans on the show, Devin has promised him and Jake are flying or driving, whatever they end up doing, to LA for the Chargers game. So we got to get a big Bengals contingency out there for that.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. Well, his team travels well.
At your house, Heath, so I don't have to rent a car. I'll just ride with you.
So, but
I got 2 extra bedrooms. Neither one of the kids will be home.
3 extra bedrooms.
I might look at flights because we'll fly into Burbank and you can pick us up.
Fine.
no, there you go. Well, you should be going in and out of Burbank anyway.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
the easiest airport. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
How.
Although
Yeah.
I am calling in a favor, and I think it'll get. I think I'll be able to do it. I'm going to be Monday night in Dallas for that Monday night game late in the season.
Yeah,
All right, let's do that when we get to the schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Heath
So let's
brought
go
up
through
KC.
real quick, and
I'll
then
throw
we'll
out-
talk about what games we're going to. But I love our opening day game. I at home for New England. I mean, I just like that game. It's one of the better starting games we've had. We're not.
I'll take it one step further, Mark.
yes,
Three
you
of
will.
our first 4 games.
Oh.
3 of our first 4 games. Pats at home. We'll
Yeah.
skip over week 2 for now. Commanders at home at Panthers. Rookie quarterback, second-year quarterback.
Yeah.
Panthers, Bryce Young is second year, but it's a new coach, new system. Everything on that offense is brand new. I love getting, if Jaden Daniels is everything that people say he's going to be, it ain't going to be in week 3.
Right.
Most likely. It's going to be in week 10, 11. I love seeing all 3 of them. Maybe it hurts a little that it's Pat's week 1 because you're going to get Jacoby Brissett, most likely, not a rookie Drake May. But again, new coach, new system, who knows? It's at home, but I love the first 3 out of 4. And how many years in a row have we started with Cleveland or Pittsburgh, usually on the road?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, and I'm going to give you
realistically, we have a chance to start out really, really strong.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If Burrow can have a healthy training camp and then we have a good preseason, we don't have to have a slow start this year. And I'm going to give you something else on the Chiefs game, that we get Mahomes and the Chiefs before he's gelled. Rice isn't going to be playing. He's not going to be there. We've got
they'll be fine.
and a rookie wide receiver. No, but we get them before they start gelling later in the year.
Yeah.
I'd much rather get them week 2.
Yeah.
He may not even be a free man.
Oh, yes. No, there's no question. His whole,
He's fine. He's going to get a 6-game suspension.
No, I think he's on the commissioner's exempt list with that assault charge. And he lured the guy back to the club so he could assault him. They have the text.
Are you talking about the first thing he did, the second thing, or the third? Because I can't even keep track.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That there's so many things now. He's going on the commissioner's exempt list. That's where he's going. They're just going to kind of move when it's time for him to show up to training camp. The Chiefs aren't going to want him there. The NFL isn't going to want him there, and they're just going to kind of slide him out of play. And that's.
I heard he's going to be catching for Trevor Bauer in the Mexican League soon.
There you go. So, but so I see there's a 3-1, 4-0 kind of start if everything comes together. So yeah, I really like that too. Anything else that overall I loved our schedule. I loved when our bye week.
Yeah. We never get a late bye week. Let's dive in a little bit on the Chiefs game. I think it's really interesting that we play them in week 2. I think it's 3 years in a row we've played them, and it's always been not even December, January. And granted, the first year we played them, we weren't expected to be anything. That was just a divisional game. The last 2 years, I think it's been an automatic matchup with the AFC West first place and first place. But all 3, if I'm not mistaken, were January. They put it week 2, and I personally think that they wanted to guarantee the views and the TV. It didn't get the primetime slot, but it got the afternoon national spot.
Yeah.
I think they just wanted to make sure they had Burrow and Mahomes and Kelsey and Jamar, everybody there and healthy, and get viewers in the seats watching everybody there in week 2 rather than week 17. Don't forget
about Taylor.
So the battle.
Don't forget about Taylor. You said Kelsey, Taylor Swift.
Oh,
I don't care.
Oh,
don't
he's
care.
Look at my son.
it's,
Look at Riley.
oh my gosh. I don't know. I was on one of the and all the news was Taylor Swift and Kelsey kissing on some boat. And I was like, really? You know, just keep it. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Hey, and maybe the Chiefs will be missing their kicker. You know, he's on the speaking tour these days.
yeah, well, but you know what? Hey, if that's the worst
Oh,
you
we
have
can
is
doing this from the kitchen.
Bucker's comments, they can weather that. So, you know what? What I found really weird. We have 5 primetime games, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. And they could flex us into more later in the year. We know that. But I was really surprised at 2 of them, Washington and the Giants.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, of all our matchups, I understand the Cleveland, I understand Baltimore, I understand Dallas. I didn't understand, and those are weeks where they can't flex out of them. So I was really surprised that those were the games that, well, the Monday night you can't flex out of, but why? Really, that was the best thing on the schedule that week, Washington, Cincinnati for Monday night.
It makes absolutely no sense. The Giants, it's New York, so take it with a grain of salt. Washington makes absolutely no sense. And like you said, the other ones make sense. I was really hoping. We played Dallas 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I
was
really
a week
wanted
2 game.
Thanksgiving. What's that?
That was a week 2 game.
Yeah, we lost to fucking Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
I really wanted. I was hoping both times it would be the Thanksgiving game. That would be just freaking cool. But Dallas on Monday night is a blast. That's a lot of fun. It's like that's one of those matchups you never see, Cincinnati, Dallas.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of oddities to the national games. The Chiefs have, I think, 19 of their 17 games on national TV. I saw a fun fact this morning. Dallas and Philadelphia will not play now they got the 4 p.m. Eastern slot, both games, but it's the first time they're not a Sunday night, Monday night game since 2006.
Yeah.
So just weird stuff. One more fun fact, and I know this is Bengals driven, but I thought this was crazy. The Chiefs play games on 6 different days of the week this year.
Wow. That is
the only day they don't play is Tuesday.
You told me your son was doing some Dan analytics thing. You might want to talk to him about that 19 games in 19 days, 19 games and 17 days, or whatever you said.
Hey, I got your attention, didn't I? It's just a little emphasis.
Question: You had this fact last year on our one of our shows. Since we're sitting now playing the Browns on primetime, are we okay when we're at home, or is it always against the Browns?
Yes, it's just the road. It's just the road. We're fine at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned a comment about that.
I mean, Burrow's not all that good against the Browns, so
correct.
True too.
I don't think it really matters about the past when he can't beat them either. So,
and I think our last 2 wins against the Browns were scrubs against scrubs, if I'm not mistaken.
It was their scrubs. I think Riley's right. I think Joe had to come. Joe? No,
Joe didn't play either.
Right?
No, Joe didn't play either because
2
2 years ago we played them in week 18 when we rested everybody.
Yeah.
And this past year, obviously Burrow was out. It was Browning against their scrubs.
Right.
And we lost the other. So yeah, our last 2 wins against
them. And we knew we weren't going.
Not with Burrow.
By the way, that's
but no, my point is just Burrow's beaten the Browns, I think once, maybe twice.
No, once. Yeah.
That's a big that obviously was we were talking about signings earlier, obviously the rookies, but that's an important signing. Having Browning, having a legit backup in this league is important. And I liked seeing that.
Last year, when we talked about our season preview, I think Jake and I talked a lot about the fact that we didn't have a backup because Trevor Siemian and Browning both looked horrible in the preseason. And this year we're going into where we really we have a quarterback that's shown he can come in if Joe's not available and win games. So that everything's better setting up this year. I'm just hoping, the train keeps rolling because like I said, Burrow with more weight, all that. So So
two things that Jake and I talked about the schedule. Not a big deal, nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen, but it just sucks that it's the Chiefs. We play them in week 2. They play Thursday night, week 1. So that's 10 days of rest for them. They get a mini bye before playing us, but it's week 2. Everybody's rested and fresh. Right. We have a gnarly stretch late in the season. I'm sure you guys saw this.
Yeah.
On December 9th, Cowboys Monday night. At Titans. Now it's not the Mike Vrabel Titans, but it used to be very physical. It's probably going to be different with Callahan, but still Monday night at Dallas, Sunday at Tennessee, and then come back on Thursday against the Browns. It's
Right.
3 games in 10 days.
Right.
Tough stretch.
So,
And then, by the way, well, then we get the mini bye, then home Denver, and then at Pittsburgh to finish up.
well,
So
we actually
that's a tough 3-game stretch.
yeah, and we have 2 Thursday games, which I'm not a fan of. I mean, we're playing on a Thursday following the Raider game. So we're home for the Raiders, but they have 4 days rest. We're playing
Oh.
Thursday at Baltimore. I didn't
catch
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, I'm not a big fan of Thursday games. I think eventually we're going to wind up getting to a second bye week. They'll I don't know.
They've already said they want to eliminate another preseason game and play 18 games with a second bye.
So
that'll be within the next 2 to 3 years.
Any chance they go back and they'll start the week over Labor Day weekend?
Oh, no, what they said, because Goodell said this about a month ago, they want to extend the season 1 week. It would make the Super Bowl President's Day weekend. So the day after Super Bowl is a day off, which would be flipping glorious.
Oh, yeah, no.
They don't want to play Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, so all right, so like I said, that's because we're getting to the point to where, especially when you're adding in all these, you add in an extra Thursday game for some teams. Now you're playing in Germany, you're playing in South America,
playing Wednesday games this year.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna see that. But overall, I really like the schedule. I really do.
Yeah.
I think
it's great. It starts out, it's like a gradual and look, it's funny. We talked about this starting in, when Burrow went down in week 8, Jake, to his, I don't know if it's his credit, but his point was screw the playoffs. We're not going anywhere. Let's get the 4th place schedule. Let's get the draft pick. And I even said, is it really that big a deal? It's not that advantageous looking at the 4th place teams we'd play next year. But as soon as you map out 17 games in a row, it's like, there's no murderous stretches where you get Buffalo, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Getting to play Washington, that's we play.
No, you get to play New England, you get to play Carolina and Tennessee.
And then you get the luxury of playing a division where you get to play Denver, you get to play Washington, you get to play the Giants because of the division you're playing that year. Mm-hmm. And look, if this team's right, sky's the limit. We could be talking about a 1st round bye in a couple months.
Yeah. No. More than a couple months, but yeah, no, the 3-game fill-ins is huge. That's a huge thing because otherwise you're getting, San Francisco, Buffalo, and the Texans.
Right.
They're going to be a team this year. They were already making strides. They're going to be right there.
And when I was thinking about it last November, I'm like, it's 3 games. What's the big deal? Until you start layering it all in, and those 3 games are freaking huge.
Yes. It's the difference between the 2 and the 5 seed. It's the difference between getting the 1 seed or not making the postseason. I mean, the 3 games are big.
Yeah. So, now, not to digress too much, but losing that week 18 game to Cleveland, or maybe losing the Minnesota game that we pulled out of our what would have been Brock Bowers, maybe JC Latham, but that's a whole other story.
Right. Yeah. No.
So, what did you say, Brian?
I mean, I think the biggest thing we haven't touched on is the fact that our divisional games are so spread out this year. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're looking at the Steelers schedule, where they have, I think, all 5 of the 6 divisional games within like an 8-week stretch at the end of the season.
Yes.
As tough as this division is, that would be a killer, especially if you're trying to look at playoffs. Then all of a sudden you have 6 divisional games to go with 8 weeks left in the season. I think having ours spread out, because we don't have at least if I'm seeing it correctly, we don't have a back-to-back divisional week, which I think we have had for the last couple of years, have had divisional games.
You're right. We don't.
That's huge.
There's always, no, you're right. And now I'm remembering on Twitter,
not on mute,
seeing on Twitter, how upset the Steeler fans were with the holiday games. They got Christmas again this year. I mean, they were very upset, and they talked about that, having all those divisional games at the end of their schedule. So definitely the schedule gods.
That is unbelievable. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't seen it. They play 4 divisional games in a row.
Yeah.
They play the Browns 2 out of 3 weeks. I can't find oh, there it is. So they start, I don't know what week number. Oh, week 11. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how they close. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
And they got stuck on Christmas again.
Wow.
Twitter, like I said, the Steeler fans on Twitter were not pleased.
But they
and I don't blame them. That's terrible.
But they
So-
have 2 or 3 quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say, when you got 2 quarterbacks, you know how many you got?
None.
None.
That's right. So it'll be interesting to see. I still think they had a great offseason.
Oh yeah.
I think
They
the
did. They had a great
Steelers
draft.
did. But what
Look,
they
anytime you get athletes from the University of Michigan, you're putting yourself in a great position.
No. Yeah.
Just like our
I
punter.
was watching this. I was watching for the
Just like our punter.
head shake. You got it.
You got exactly what I wanted.
That's
Mark.
Talking about
right.
the Ohio State, over Riley's left shoulder is a Ohio State onesie that we
fine.
were given when he was born.
There you go.
And I forget, where'd you go to school, Heath?
A diehard Buckeye, through and through. You know that.
So,
Yeah, Rich Luffman.
all right. So, and then let's talk.
I'm gonna text him right now and send him this link and tell him that he somehow got mentioned in our Bengals podcast.
There you go. So, all right, and then
we have gone off the rails.
Oh, we have. Now, let's talk about the games we're attending. We're all going to be, except for Riley, who's going to be at school, but we're all going to be at the Charger game here in Los Angeles. And now I'm finding out that we're talking about maybe a trip to Cincinnati for the Raider game.
Dude, you have been a fan for way too long to have never been in Cincinnati.
Like
That's
I said,
amazing.
fan from the beginning, 5 years old, picked the Bengals. But yeah, that was something I could never pull off with the wife. That was never going to happen. And now, like I said, happily divorced. Doors open.
Heath,
don't have to ask anybody's permission to go. So
Heath, you can answer this. They will never have the Bengals and Reds home the same weekend, right? Because of the downtown area. Is that a true statement?
Not true.
Nope.
Because that would be sick to do both.
Listen, you probably remember this when I tell you. Riley was like what, 7?
4th grade, so something around there.
7, 8 years old. We do a red eye. We get to Kentucky, since that's where the Ohio airport is.
right.
We have the Reds Cardinals day game on Thursday. Drove to Columbus, where I had friends. Saw the Buckeyes on Saturday. Drove back to Cincinnati on Sunday and saw the Bengals. We got the Reds, Bengals, and Buckeyes in 4 days.
I do remember. I think they try to avoid it as best they can because it's a lot. But that would be sick if we're planning something. Huh?
Separate stadiums, so it's not that big.
No, but because of that downtown, it's just too much and parking, and it's just a mess. But
Dude, we had an absolute blast.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the weather was gorgeous because it was September, so it was still it was beautiful.
So
That
in my defense, I spent a lot of times when I was a Raider season ticket holder when they were here in Los Angeles. I was at every Raider game, and I proudly wore my Kenny Anderson and my Boomer Esiason jersey regularly, and only heard a little bit of crap when the Bengals were playing here in Los Angeles. But
you're lucky you're alive.
So no, there was never a listen. If I wouldn't have gone to the Coliseum for a Raider game wearing a Chiefs or a Chargers jersey because it
doesn't matter.
Those fans.
Doesn't matter. I went to high school with the guy that got killed at that Steelers game. I mean, they're gnarly.
So, but
Literally killed.
Oh yeah, that was the famous one. He was like in the first row, and they threw him over. Yeah, look it up. Steelers fan killed at the Coliseum. That was a famous one.
So, I'm not going to say it.
All right.
I was going to make a joke because it was a Steelers fan, but it's still the loss of a human being who should be able to go to a game and enjoy the game. So
yeah, I wouldn't make that joke.
So I pulled it back. Don't worry.
I'm in for the Chargers game. I feel like we've been in Tennessee 3 of the last 4 years.
I do too.
And Nashville is a trip that the wife and I have talked about for years. And every year when the schedule comes out, I tell her I have the weekend. I want to take her to Nashville. I don't know if that's going to work this year, but I really want to go to a Nashville game. And Especially because Bengals fans travel well down there. It's an easy drive. We remember that from the playoff game. I really want to do that one.
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you just do the Patriots game that to you? It's early in the season. The weather's going to be good.
Because I want to go to Nashville. I don't.
I'm
Yeah.
going in I'm going in a, I'm
I don't
going
need to
in
go. I don't need
What's
to
the
fly
weather
to-
like in Nashville in mid-December?
Well,
in
that's the
July.
problem. It's cold,
Yeah.
I'm going in July, middle of July, Nashville. Thanks.
and
thanks
it's
for the
thick
conference.
then.
Yeah.
So, and then Heath, you said you got a chance might be at the Dallas Monday night game.
I have called in a favor. He actually, my buddy who has the tickets, has got called away to speak at a conference, but I think he's going to be able to pull it off. Hopefully, I'll have my daughter with me for that game.
Yeah, Heath said he's going to get 4, so I'm going to fly in and meet him there.
There you go. So, and there's no way we can get the wife to let Riley come out to any of these games.
It's just too much. She's on
No.
the East Coast. It's just too tough to turn it around.
I mean, if we're in Cincinnati, I might find my way there. But as of now, plan is go to the Giants game. That's not too far of a trip.
Okay. And there's
How
if we
far-
do
is that a
something
drive,
in-
Riley, or is that a flight?
I mean, either, but
3
drugs.
hours, right? But
Train too, right? You could
Yeah,
train there
you
probably.
could train that too. Yeah, that's a good point.
But keep in mind, it's a Sunday night game, so I
I
don't know
would
that
miss
you're getting a
class,
train.
but we get a couple free absences.
There
Yeah.
you go.
But if we do
Wait, you go to
something-
a school where they care if you miss class? Oh, you must be smart. I don't know what
Yeah.
that's like.
We just have really small classes, so they actually pay attention.
they actually go, "Where's Riley?" when you're in class.
Pretty much.
So that's not good when the professor knows when you're not there because this class is it's good and it's not good. So, but you could possibly make it to the Raiders if we planned that in the beginning of November. That's a trip you might be able
November
to pull
7th,
off.
I think, right? I didn't look at this.
All right.
The third.
Third. So it's earlier in November, so it's probably it could be cold, but not brutal.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. We're gonna have to set the gears in motion then. So
By the way, I don't know if anybody saw this. I didn't see it until just now. We play the Bears in the second preseason game.
yeah, I
I gotta
saw that.
imagine. We'll definitely see some Caleb Williams in that one.
Oh,
for at
definitely.
least
He's
for a
the
quarter.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, our preseason games are Tampa. For some reason, we always play Indianapolis. Is that just because of geography?
I would think so.
Or 90 minutes? I mean, people don't realize the geography sometimes, when you're, I don't know where people are in the country watching this show, but, Cincinnati is closer to, to Indianapolis than they are to Cleveland, just because they're in the
Really?
same state. Yeah. So
Seriously?
90 minutes to Indianapolis. Only
Cleveland's
90.
4.5. That's why when I lived in Ohio, I never made it up to Cleveland. My dad worked on Saturdays. We never drove up to Cleveland. 4.5
How
hours.
far is it from Cincy to Cleveland?
Dayton was 4 hours, so Cincy would be 4.5, 4 3/4.
Yeah.
I had no
So
idea.
it's about 30, it's like 30 to 40 minutes to Cincinnati.
Yeah. So no, and Indianapolis is, like I said, 90 minutes from what somebody told me. I have a friend that lives in Indianapolis, and he's
boys,
from
we need to remember
Cincinnati.
something.
He makes the trek home all the time.
We're
So-
recording this, and people are just hearing us ramble on. Let's go ahead and call it a show.
Well,
and
let's wrap this up. Yeah, no. I always like this. This is a fun show. It's just kind of let's go. So all right. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Riley, remind them where they can find you on Twitter, because you're going to start posting a lot of stuff when you're writing.
On Twitter at sportsball with 3 L's at the end, and then also check out fanfunded.io.
There you go.
Say that slower, buddy. What is it called?
Wait.
And I know it, but I couldn't hear it.
Sportsball with 3 L's at the end, and then fanfunded.io.
Fanfunded.io. There you go. All right. So like I said, support the channel. By fans, for fans. It's all we ask. Make sure you give us the thumbs up. It helps us out with the YouTube analytics. And please subscribe and hit the bell so you know when our next video goes up. We're all waiting for the Chase contract, OTAs, all that stuff. So, subscribe so you know when we put up these shows. And with that, I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody.
Who day?
Hoo day. Take care.